Evan Treborn was just 7 years old when the blackouts began. They weren't fainting spells. They were something else. Whole hours of his life vanished into darkness. One second he's drawing in class. The next, he's holding a knife with no memory of what happened in between. His mother is terrified. Doctors find nothing. And Evan, he just wants to be normal. Growing up in a small town, Evan's life is tangled with 3 other kids, Kaylee, Lenny, and Tommy. Together, they experience a childhood filled with secrets, pain, and moments none of them fully remember. Some of those moments, caught on grainy home videos and hidden in dusty attics, are too disturbing to forget. Yet they do, or try to. Years pass. The blackouts fade, but the damage lingers. Lenny is a recluse, tormented by something he won't talk about. Tommy becomes violent, unstable. And Kaylee, once Evan's best friend, grows distant, trapped in a life full of pain she never chose. Then one day in college, Evan stumbles across one of his old journals. He reads it aloud, and suddenly, everything changes. He's not in the dorm anymore. He's 7 again. Same body, but his mind, his adult mind, is still intact. He's gone back in time. This isn't a memory, it's a second chance. In that moment, Evan discovers something terrifying and extraordinary. He can change the past. Every journal entry becomes a doorway. Every choice he makes echoes forward. But what begins as a gift quickly becomes a curse. Because the more he tries to fix the past, the more broken the future becomes. The first time Evan rewrites the past, it seems like a miracle. He returns to the moment Kaylee was molested by her father and speaks up, something his 7-year-old self never had the courage to do. When he comes back to the present, he wakes up in bed with her. They're a couple. She's happy. He saved her, or so he thinks. The world is different. He's no longer the lonely psych major. He's got a girlfriend, confidence, and a life that finally feels right. But then, he checks in on Lenny. In this timeline, Lenny's institutionalized, catatonic, broken. In saving Kaylee, Evan accidentally triggered a mental collapse in his childhood friend. The joy of fixing one life quickly curdles into guilt. So he jumps again, this time to stop a prank with a mailbox that exploded and maimed a mother and her baby. He convinces his friends to walk away, but when he wakes, he's not with Kaylee anymore. In this timeline, she's a drug addict, working in a diner, barely holding on. Each change brings another consequence. The people around Evan aren't just altered, they're transformed. Tommy is dead in one version, Lenny is a murderer in another. Kaylee either thrives or dies, depending on choices Evan made as a child. He begins to understand the nature of his power. It's not time travel in the traditional sense, it's trauma travel. He can only leap into moments tied to his blackouts, moments of pain, confusion, and chaos. Every jump feels more costly. His nose bleeds, his body weakens, and yet he can't stop. He becomes obsessed with fixing everything. He tries to create the perfect timeline. One where Kaylee is safe, Lenny is healthy, Tommy is stable, and he still gets to be happy. But no matter what combination he tries, something always breaks. The puzzle won't solve itself. And with every leap, Evan loses a little more of who he was. In one version, he's in jail. In another, he's a double amputee. But the scariest one, the one where Kaylee doesn't even remember who he is. The past is a minefield, and Evan's stomping through it with no map. By now, Evan knows the truth. Every time he jumps, he breaks the world a little more. His mind is unraveling. His body shows signs of strain, nosebleeds, seizures, blackouts that now follow him even in the present. He used to believe he could save everyone. Now, he wonders if he's the one they need saving from. Each timeline plays out like a cruel experiment. In one, Evan saves Kaylee from abuse, but she ends up as a prostitute, numb and hollow. In another, he sacrifices his own limbs in the explosion he tried to prevent, waking up as a double amputee, his mother crying beside him in the hospital. Every success is laced with tragedy. Every win comes with a darker cost. Desperate, he leaps again, this time to stop Tommy from killing Evan's dog in front of a young Kaylee, a moment he believes shattered her trust in people. He attacks Tommy as a child, hoping to scare him straight. But in the present, Tommy is dead, and Kaylee, racked with guilt over the incident, took her own life years earlier. Evan is out of control. Each change is more drastic, each timeline more unfamiliar. He clings to the journals, flipping through them like a madman, searching for one single combination that doesn't leave someone ruined. But the truth keeps hitting him in the face. The more he meddles, the worse things get. Worse still, he's becoming untethered from time. He no longer knows which version of himself is real. Some memories feel like dreams, others like nightmares. In one world, he's a violent inmate. In another, he's a frat boy with anger issues. None of them feel like him. He's a stranger in every life he touches. The people around him suffer the most. Lenny, who was once his shy friend, becomes a murderer in one world, a mute in another. Kaylee is either lost, dead, or destroyed. And Tommy, violent in every timeline, dies more often than not. Evan finally looks at himself in the mirror and asks the question he's been avoiding. Am I the problem? Maybe the universe isn't broken. Maybe he is. He thought he was fixing the past, but he was only rearranging the wreckage. The dominoes were already falling. He just kept kicking them in new directions. Evan doesn't sleep anymore. Not truly. His mind is a carousel of timelines, each one more broken than the last. There's no longer a version of his life untouched by tragedy. Every journal entry, every childhood moment he's used to time travel has turned into a doorway to disaster. In one timeline, he wakes up institutionalized, diagnosed with schizophrenia. Doctors dismiss his talk of time travel as delusion. His mother, exhausted and aging, visits him with a mix of pity and fear in her eyes. But Evan knows it's not madness. He can still feel the jumps, still hear the echoes of lives he's never lived. But in this moment of hopelessness, clarity begins to bloom. Maybe the problem isn't the trauma. Maybe the problem is him. He's the common denominator in every ruined life. Kaylee's downward spiral, Lenny's violence, Tommy's rage. The only variable that keeps changing is Evan. He flips through his journals one last time, not to escape, but to understand. He sees the truth in every entry. Each attempt to save someone twisted their fate further. His love for Kaylee, his loyalty to Lenny, they blinded him. He thought he was saving them, but he was only forcing his own will onto lives not meant to be rewritten. So he makes one final jump, the earliest blackout, the beginning of it all. He returns to a moment when he first met Kaylee as a child, right after his mother moved into the neighborhood. Young Evan sits across from her on the porch. In the original timeline, they became inseparable. But now, Evan does something different. He looks her in the eye and says, "If you ever come near me again, I'll kill you and your whole family." The words cut like a knife. She stares, horrified. Then she runs. She tells her dad. Her family moves away. And just like that, Evan severs the bond before it ever forms. When he wakes, everything is quiet. No chaos, no bleeding, no timelines unraveling. In this version of the future, Kaylee is happy. She's never known Evan, never suffered because of him. Lenny is calm. Tommy is distant, but alive. And Evan, He's alone. But for the first time in a long time, alone feels like peace. He gave up love, friendship, a life he wanted, because he finally understood that control doesn't equal salvation. Sometimes, the only way to fix things is to let them go. Evan Treborn never becomes a hero. He doesn't get the girl, doesn't live a glamorous life, doesn't win in any of the timelines he so desperately tried to perfect. What he gains instead is understanding. In this final version of reality, he lives a simple, unremarkable life. He has no friends from the past, no haunting blackouts, no journals full of pain. Just a quiet job, a modest apartment, and a mind finally at peace. Sometimes he dreams about other versions of himself. In one, he's in a wheelchair. In another, he's holding Kaylee's hand at a college party. In the darkest, he's screaming in a padded cell. They visit him like ghosts, not to torment, but to remind him of what he let go, what he chose not to be. Years pass. He sees Kaylee once, on a busy street. She walks past him without recognition, laughing with a friend, her face light and carefree. He doesn't stop her. He just smiles and keeps walking. That's all he ever wanted for her. And for himself, he no longer needs to rewrite the past. He's finally living in the present. Because here's the truth Evan learned. The lesson etched into the heart of the butterfly effect. Some things are meant to happen. Some pain is part of the design. The more you try to control everything, the more you lose sight of what matters. And when you try to erase the past, you erase the people shaped by it. Life isn't a puzzle to be solved. It's a path to be walked, scars and all. You can't save everyone. You can't change everything. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is nothing at all. Evan's story isn't about a man who mastered time. It's about a man who finally surrendered to it. And in that surrender, he found what no version of himself ever had before: peace. So the next time you wish you could go back and undo a mistake, ask yourself, would you be the same person if you did? Would they? Sometimes the butterfly doesn't need to flap its wings. Sometimes it just needs to fly away.